Here we go. This question is from @J2024V8I, and the question is, when selling from a taxable portfolio, should retirees sell high basis or low basis lots first? And the answer is, it depends on what you're trying to achieve with your sequence of withdrawals plan. I think you should basically, the framing to this question is, before making any decisions about what you should do, I've made this case many, many times. Before making any decisions about what you should do with your investments, with your income, with anything like that, you should always build the plan first. The plan models what you need to do, and the investments should follow suit. The investments are a tool that support the outcomes we want. The investments are not the input that dictates the outcomes we receive. Does that make sense? I mean, they are kind of one and the same, but it's about framing. It's about our perspective. If we see retirement as I can only do what is available to me given how my life is currently constructed, it's a very limiting frame of reference. And it's not necessarily true. If we see things as I can plan for an eventuality that I want to create, all of a sudden we have control. And they're the same frame. I'll give you an example. I have an asset allocation of 70% stock, 30% bonds, and $2 million. If I assume I can't change anything about those things and I have to accept what that allows me to do and the risks that come with that, that's a very paralyzing framework. We're gonna have lots of anxiety and we have no tools. But if I say, hey, I have $2 million and I can change the asset allocation to suit my level of comfort, and I can claim Social Security at a year that actually supports my desired spending, and I'd be willing to make spending adjustments at some point in retirement. As such, I can make a change to my asset allocation that will support my desired, level of risk. And it will allow for a certain amount of spending. All of a sudden, I have just taken the same person and given them control. They have variables they can tune. And what they can do is go through a planning exercise where they can determine how much they want to spend, what is discretionary versus fundamental or truly important to them, what level of risk are they willing to take in terms of estimating longevity, when would they want to retire versus when can they retire. Once you produce all that information, you can go back and say, is a change required here at the portfolio level? Maybe, but I don't know until I do all that other stuff. It's the same thing here. You have a sequence of withdrawals plan. Are you trying to qualify for ACA subsidies? Have you retired substantial enough years before Medicare that it's worth it to consider that? Do you even have the asset composition to consider that? Are there other considerations in your plan, such as a big age gap between spouses that would kind of conflict with that? So, we don't know those things. And so the answer is, let the objectives and let the plan lead and determine the objectives you want to try to achieve. And then let's try to work the tools that we have control over and see if we can suit those or use the tools available to us to support the objectives we want to achieve. It's a proactive way of looking at this. By the way, this framework was a very useful framework in my life, comes from a book called The Path of Least Resistance. If anybody wants to read it, honestly, I kind of highly recommend it as a pre-retirement planning read, because I think when it comes to retirement planning, we often think ourselves a victim of a system with rules that we have no control over and puzzle pieces that we can't influence. And it's just fundamentally not true. Like we do have limits. There's certainly things that we are not in control over, but there is a lot we can control. And if we just change our worldview to one of proactivity about what can I control and how can that change my outcomes, and we move away from reactivity, which is I have this and this is what I'm going to accept, we have a much better quality of life across the board, but also it makes retirement much, much less anxiety inducing. Real quick, let me show you the exact 3-pillar comprehensive retirement roadmap that takes retirees from uncertainty to peace of mind that less than 1% of retirees actually have in place. Now, I've built hundreds of these for retirees, and I can say with a high degree of confidence that these are the 3 pillars every retiree needs to have in place in order to have full confidence that they're not missing anything in their retirement plan. And I broke each of these down by the specific questions. You can see them here that each needs to be answered and the best way to answer them. Now, we've done this across pre-retirees, recent retirees, married couples, single retirees, $1 million portfolios, $10 million portfolios, all the above, and it works. And it's my gift to you today. It's absolutely free. It's in the first link in the description below this video. It's going to say free comprehensive retirement roadmap training. Just click the link, enter your info, and you'll get instant access all for free.